can't hang around, I still got work to do. Been working hard, I'm doing my part to make my dream come true. Not holding back, I'm on the track to my breakthrough. Dedication, staying to what I love. Determination is finally paying off. Here's to the haters and fakers, you never stop me. I'm better, I'm stronger, and everyone can see I'm moving up. Hey, all the way up. I'm moving up. All the way up, all the way up. Yes. I'm ready 'cause I always stay ready. Clean hustle, clean money, I'm a lady. Work hard, go hard, play hard.
Welcome to Trials, Triumphs, and Truths with Dr. Monica. Please tag, invite a friend, and place in the comments, tell me where you're listening from, you're tuning in from. We're listening to the theme song, I'm Moving Up, by my friend, Carrie Taylor. Just pay attention to those lyrics if it's your first time tuning in.
I'm on the road to another plateau. I'm reaching for the sky. Look at me now, I'm on a cloud. It's my time to shine.
Dedication, stay true to what I love. I'm paying off. Haters and fakers, you'll never stop me. I'm better, I'm stronger, and everyone can see I'm moving up. Hey! All the way up. That's what we want you to do, to move up. Listening to those lyrics, she says, haters, fakers, you'll never stop me. I'm better, I'm stronger, I'm moving up, I'm dedicated, and I'm staying true. Hi, I am Dr. Monica, the author of Wounds of Wisdom. It's written to help you deal with life's wounds by me transparently sharing my experiences. The book is about each one, reach one, heal one. Wisdom is about learning from others' mistakes and hopefully not making those same mistakes. At least that's the desire and the goal. So if you have been tuning in for the past 2 weeks, I have been focusing on chapter 3, Friends' Wounds. That was a safe chapter for me. It's not as confrontational or controversial, I should say, than at the other chapters. But this week, I have been waking up 3 a.m., 3:30 in the morning, just with content for today. So today I'm being obedient. It's a little bit uncomfortable for me, but I want to share a comment that I received from one of my viewers. Let me read it to you. You are doing a great job. Don't worry about comfort zone. When God sends you, he will prepare you, just as he did Moses. People need the healing, and you are helping people heal. Trust me, I am one of them. Thank you for all of you that you do, even out of your comfort zone. So I so appreciate that comment, and I thank you, because sometimes when you have information that you need to deliver and you may be uncomfortable with delivering, you need that encouragement. So I need to remember this. Although writing this book was a little bit uncomfortable, it's nowhere as uncomfortable as delivering this information live in front of the public. But I have to understand it's the platform that I have been given to execute my assignment. And perhaps you have been given a platform that you didn't ask for, you didn't expect, you didn't desire on this life's journey. So as I embark on this topic for today, I want to encourage you as well as encourage myself to stand boldly, courageously, and unapologetically on top of the platform that you have been given. And we know that if God has given you that platform, just as my viewer sent a comment in, he's standing right there on that platform with you. And the key is to know that it's him who's giving you that information and not yourself. And sometimes that's difficult to know, at least for me. And I'm being honest about that. As I state each week, people are hurting. They're looking for hope. They're living in fear, desperately turning to sources that they are supposedly help them. Instead, they're actually causing more confusion in those environments, manipulating people, deceiving people. So may today's talk encourage you and give you courage to do what you have to do for yourself. Understand yourself. So if you've read the book or been reading the book, I state many times that, sometimes I struggle with hearing from God. So I won't put any words in God's mouth unless I am 100% certain. And the reason why is because too many people in the church have disguised their actions and their words as being from the Lord. So as I share my experiences, my journey, my instincts, my gut feelings, and my truths, I trust that they will empower and encourage you not to be gullible, follow the crowd, do what's popular, or even what's expected if your instincts or gut are telling you otherwise, and you're sensing that in your spirit. So I didn't do that. If you read the book, I didn't do that. I didn't follow my instincts and my guts many times. And after I went through a divorce, I asked the Lord for discernment or wisdom. Sometimes you have to be careful what you ask for. And the reason why is because what you ask for, you got to be tested in that. So in order to gain wisdom or discernment, you got to be faced with some situations in life so that you're able to discern. You can't receive something and speak on it if you haven't been through it. You can only speak about it. There's a big difference between going through it and coming out of it and empowering and encouraging others than if you haven't. Now, nobody wants to rock the boat, right? Nobody wants to rock the boat. If we rock the boat, we're labeled, right? We're labeled hostile, bitter, vindictive. We're often attacked, ostracized, called ungodly, said to stay in our lane, or we're out of line. And this can result in isolation and distancing. But being isolated and distanced, or in other words, alone, can be a blessing in disguise. And why is that? It's the best place. They say don't rock the boat. Remember the song, don't rock the boat, don't tip the boat over? Well, alone can be the great tipping point for clarity. To see situations, people, and places as they truly are. Not as we want them to be or think they are, but as they truly are. So, when your boat is rocked, what is a typical protocol? Ignore reality, make excuses, bury your head in the sand, turn a blind eye, suffer in silence, discredit our God-given instinct. And here's the final one, listening to others' viewpoint. When we feel that we can't speak up or talk about the things that we've gone through, it can take us into some dark places. Depression, drugs, acting out, suicide, retaliation, various other addictions, and revenge. But the Lord says, vengeance is mine. So instead of going to dark places, we need to learn to let go of what we cannot control or what we can't change. Otherwise, those things will change us. How many times have we stepped into situations we know we should, just trying to help, just trying to work it out. If somebody doesn't want to listen, they want to hear your advice or input, they will not receive it. Environments that we get ourselves in or we place ourselves in. We can pay for the sins of our forefathers, even our parents. And this can come in the form of mishaps, illnesses, bad luck, and generational curses. And in those environments, you can't just pray it away because you can't stay in certain environments and think see or hear clearly because your mind is too distracted. So you have to get in that isolated, alone place. And I'm talking about some of these environments could be your home, it could be the church, it could be a marriage, and it could be work. I talk about all those things in the book. Yet, this is often, we're often told to just, stay there, work it out, pray about it. This too shall pass. And people may have hidden agendas. And some people who make these statements, they may have intentions, good intentions. And they may think they may be anointed and appointed and think that that's what they're displaying, but it's not. Remember what I said? I don't know if you listened to me last week, but I talked about intentions. Well, what are intentions? What good are intentions? And what do intentions cause? So today, I am going to discuss chapter 4, church wounds. In a recent conversation that I had with a doubter, or, maybe an atheist, I'm going to address 3 statements in this discussion that she and I had. And because I am aiming to keep the podcast between 15 and 20 minutes, I may have to continue the points next week. So be sure to tune in. I'm going to try to get through them and not rush through them. So the first statement that, and please comment on these, because I will use your comments as future discussions. Statement 1, she said, was, I won't go to church because those people are fake, mean, living hellish lives more than those who don't go to church. I'm just going to be a good person and I'm going to have time with my God. I don't believe in, that prayer stuff and keep asking for the same thing. And when she said that, this is the first time I've heard several people say that. Many people have walked away from the church. If you read the book, you understand my struggle with the church because it's a place where I've been wounded to the core. And, but it's a blessing to be able to share that in Wounds of Wisdom to help you heal in that process. I grew up in the church all my life and attended all my life. But in this book, I speak of 5 specific churches that I felt wounded me and wounded me to my core in many instances. And I understood during this conversation with this young lady, I understood her statement all too well. And I needed to address that with her. It does seem like there's more people, in a church environment, raising more hell, so to speak, than in the world, or as much as. And how many times have you walked into a church and had a look? You had that uncomfortable look from somebody looking you up and down, spoke to someone, didn't speak, they didn't speak back, heard them make a comment, heard and seen first-hand experiences, not from gossip. And you're expected to, just turn a blind eye. As if it didn't happen. Still rejoice. Give God praise. But, the environment has been ruined a little bit. So how do we do that? But I want to have a question. Are we practicing what we preach? Or are we preaching what we only expect others to practice? Think about that. How is your walk? How are your actions impacting others in a positive or a negative way? We hear statements that, well, have faith, trust God. You don't trust God. God's in control. Just pray about it. These are true statements, but they're often misused and abused and become excuses because faith without works is dead. What happens when a prayer is not answered or when a prophetic word is delivered, claimed to be from the Lord, but it's really from the flesh? If wounds make people, these things wound people. It makes people skeptical. It pushes people away from the church. And instead of drawing them in, I'm speaking for myself and many others in particular, because they've given me feedback about the book. So I am going to read a little something from page 53 and 54 from the book. And I know I'm coming up on my 15 minutes, so I know I'm not going to get through these 3 points. So I will continue them next week. But I want to read this statement on page 53. Growing up in the church, I have seen more sin and sickness than in the world. I haven't seen much curing and healing, and certainly no signs and wonders. I've struggled with the church or organized religion for many years now, probably for the past 17 years. However, the last 6 have been even more of a struggle. I've struggled with tithing during this time for the very same reason. However, I continue to do so out of obedience to God. I have been extremely blessed, and because of my obedience, I don't believe that I would have been as blessed had I been disobedient. I totally question what the church says it desires to do and its purpose versus what it is actually doing. This has been my struggle at most churches. I share this not to divide, because if I'm thinking it, I know there are others struggling too, and why churches must do better and hold each church accountable, especially when ungodliness is known. We do so in the world, but why not in the church? It's a question. Why don't we? Again, like I said, nobody wants to rock the boat. So, as I said, I like to keep this. Sorry about the music that being that loud. I am going to keep this to 15 to 20 minutes. And if you found this brief podcast to be enlightening or encouraging, please share it. Also post comments. And join me each Thursday, 4:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This recording will be posted on Instagram using the handle Wounds of Wisdom by Dr. Monica. So tune in next week and please share this podcast with others. This concludes Trials, Triumphs, and Truths with Dr. Monica. Thank you for tuning in. And we're going to end with the theme song, I'm Moving Up. And until next time, don't allow anyone to disturb your peace, and don't you disturb anyone's peace for the rest of the day. Have a good evening. Be sure to get the book at drmonicajackson.com/books and post your comments. Have a good evening.